I'm not gonna lie. In high school, I was I'm just gonna say I was kind of douchey with music. I was like,
oh, you don't like Nickelback, eh?
I was very like, oh, rock music. I almost want to say kind of like hipster, like, oh, rock music. These people make their own music. They pour their heart and soul into it. There's deeper meanings. There's like so much more going on there. And then like this popular stuff that everyone listens to is just corporate manufactured, like there's nothing there. So I was very like elitist, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not super proud of it. Like I thought I was better than people when it came to musical taste, because I thought my stuff is deeper than your stuff. Your stuff is just factory conveyor belted out. And then as I got older and matured, I kind of came to the conclusion of like, dude, you're being a fucking douchebag. Shut the fuck up. People will enjoy what they will. At work, I pay for the Spotify family plan, and I had an open spot, so I put one for our store there, so it's not just the regular retail stuff. But I still, to this day, tell everyone, like every new guy that comes in, like we have a lot of new hires right now, like, hey, we have a Spotify for the store. You play whatever you want. When there's customers in here, just ask yourself, will it give an old lady a heart attack? If it will, probably not allowed. But then, but I tell them the one rule I have, the one strict rule I will uphold is I will not have any of my hard-earned money contributing to any form of success to Cardi B. You play Cardi B, account's gone. You're listening to the same 10 retail songs over and over again.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
And everyone's like, what? And I get different reactions. So people are like, oh yeah, no, I don't like Cardi B. And some are like, what? You don't like Cardi B? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I don't fuck with Cardi B.
Now, when I hear the name Cardi B, I think top 10 worst artists of the 21st century. People might wonder why I keep hammering away at her, and there's multiple reasons. So why specifically keep harping on this?
I get where you're at. I get where your head's at. It's a matter of opinion, but it's also a matter of what you were introduced to. As a kid,
yeah.
MTV, gangster rap, like random hip hop bullshit like that was introduced to me at a very early age. So I was very open to hip hop music and the culture for a very long time, up until I got into maybe about the 8th grade. And then things started to change, and I got introduced to different things, and I found different things on my own. Whereas now when I think of hip hop, I'm, again, my usual examples of things that I listen to still, and more notably, like, that are current, is stuff that still ties in with what I'm used to and what I perceive as like a template of what I'm used to.
Right.
And it's like MF Doom. It's guys like Ed Ape, who, shout out to Ed Ape, he follows the show. Guys like Aesop Rock and Ill Bill. It's underground hip hop. I get what you mean. I mean, she has more money than us, so fuck,
yeah,
she's
exactly.
doing something right.
No, and for me, like, I no longer have that same mindset of like, oh, I'm better than you because of my music taste. I know it's my own personal opinion, and obviously people like her because she has a lot of money. And it's just like, but I just don't want to give her any of my money. It's unfair too. I'm not going to lie. I know it's unfair and kind of a little bit hypocritical because I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, to each their own. Like, I've opened up a lot more. Like, I listen to K-pop, country. I know everyone's like, oh my God, country. Yeah, I like country. I like pretty much anything. I'll even I'll slap some Beethoven if I'm in the mood. Like,
that was like the one extent where I was very unrealistic. To where I was like, yeah, I listen to classical every now and then. I was like, now you're kind of just being now you're being a jack off. Like, you don't listen to fucking classical. I was probably more prone to listening to country than I was fucking classical. And even now, I'm, again, yeah, like I've strayed towards, I don't listen to country per se, but there have been artists that have now come around to where I'm like, hey, that's a good song. But also, I don't know, fucking like a Garth Brooks song.
And my thing with music was always, at the base of it, is like my personal preference is I just like something with a little more, I guess, depth to it, a little more meaning, something that I'm like, okay, yeah, like I could tell someone really put their, heart and soul into this. So that's my own personal preference. I get, like, sometimes you don't want to think deeply. You just want to jam out. So, yeah, totally fine. You got something that's just something fun to listen to, But I definitely opened up more. I think my preference is definitely music that has better storytelling. But now I've kind of, like, opened up. It's like, hey, dude, like everyone likes what they like. Stop being a fucking douche about it. Which again, that's not me now, and it hasn't been for a while. That was like moody teenage me.
See, you're finding yourself.
Yeah, so that was kind of like where I was at, but there's still a lot of people that get stuck on that and don't grow out of that and don't have an open mind to like new things. Like I still technically like I'm open to more hip hop and rap music, but because a lot of what's popular in hip hop and rap is still focused around like flaunting wealth or slinging drugs or being like a player or being a hoe, like that's not stuff that I personally like enjoy or strive to, so I don't relate to it. Some people do, so that's why they like it, or some people just think it's a good time and that's fine, but because it's not like my preference, it's harder for me to find hip hop or rap music that I actually enjoy listening to.
See, and I think when it comes to that, to relate it to storytelling, I think really what you have to find is your niche.
Yeah.
You are a political kind of guy. You like that stuff. You have an informed opinion about politics. I think you would be someone who would probably like Talib Kweli or Mos Def that have a very social and political kind of
Messages.
I was going to say narrative, but that's the wrong word. Yeah, message. That have just that underlying and kind of outspoken message and opinion that they portray within their music. Whereas I don't know that you're going to listen to like Mac Dre. You know, it's just, I mean...
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be political. I mean, I'll enjoy that too, even if I don't agree, just because I'm like, wow, the way that you presented your message was masterful, even if I don't agree with it.
Or just something that you could vibe to, honestly, you know, something that's a vibe for you. It's like getting into like 80s rap where they're like, I'm walking down the street, I'm going
I know
to
what
the
you
store.
mean.
And you're like, hey, I like this. I'm going to the store right now.
Will Smith rap.
Push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
But yeah, no, the other day I'm sitting at work. One of my coworkers tells me that he likes Bad Bunny. And the only exposure I had ever had to Bad Bunny was like very like
social media. That's like the extent of Bad Bunny that I know. I don't know anything else about this fucking guy.
One, I had a hard time understanding him because I think he blew up when mumble rap was big, but I could be wrong. Again, I'm not too into that kind of music. But one, I had a hard time understanding what he was saying.
Oh, dude, I don't think anybody knows what he's saying.
And then so I was kind of like, but then from the few songs that I had heard pieces of was very much the stuff that I'm like not really into. Like, fuck all these bitches, like that kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that's not my scene, that's not my vibe. And then my friend was like, okay, no, I got you. I'll show you some different stuff. So he showed me a couple songs that were like more like, oh, lost love, and more like not all about that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, man, you opened me up, because before I was very much like, no, I just don't fuck with Bad Bunny at all whatsoever. But then by him showing me, as much as I had already been very like, nah, that's just not for me, I was proven wrong in that, like, okay, there's actually some stuff that lines up a little bit more with kind of what I enjoy in my music. Still probably wouldn't add it to the playlist, but now I'm not completely like dismissive either. So I think having an open mind is important too, and being able to find new things, because I also find myself like with music that I always listen to, sometimes I get bored of it. Like I was listening to this shit in high school when I was a different person, like Simple Plan, all of Simple Plan's emo angst, like I'm just a kid. Like, no, I'm a grown man now with kids of my own. I'm not just a kid. Or the other song they have, like, I'm sorry I can't be perfect, like angsty against your parents type thing. It's like I don't relate to any of that now. I still know all the words, I still enjoy the song, but I'm not like, oh, I fuck with this as hard as I used to, because it's like...
And see, but I think it's because it has that sense of nostalgia for you.
Yeah.
And it tugs, at the very least, it tugs at a specific moment in time for you.
Yeah.
And that's why it still draws you in. Because it is like, below the surface, when you really look at it, it is, as much as it was like very alty music at the time for us. Well, maybe not for me, for you. I was like avidly not trying to listen to that shit.
Whoa, that's fucking punk.
When you look at it for the time when it was prominent, it was very like teenager, like angsty music. It wasn't, and these are like 20 fucking something year old guys.
Right.
And they're like, it is very like angsty, like, I don't want to do my chores.
Sometimes
fucking Steve, my stepdad.
Sometimes I hear some of the songs I used to listen to, and like I'll start jamming like, oh, I haven't heard this song in a while, and then I'm like, wait a minute. I was listening to this. I kind of cringe sometimes at some of the stuff I used to listen to. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I was blasting this shit back in the day.